In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, dear students, Assalamu alaikum. In today's video, I will discuss about mitochondria. Mitochondria was first observed by Altman and Benda, and Benda called a filamentous. Benda called a filamentous structure. Benda called a filamentous structure in the cell as mitochondrion. Mitochondria is a cell organelle which is present in, it is a cell organelle present in all eukaryotic cells. Mitochondria is present in all eukaryotic cells. It is double membraned. Double membraned. That means it has two membranes. Mitochondria is double membraned. It has two membranes, outer membrane and inner membrane. Since it is present only in eukaryotic cells, in prokaryotic cells, another structure is for the purpose which is carried out by the mitochondria in eukaryotic cells. We know that mitochondria carries out cellular respiration. We will discuss about this a bit late. Cellular respiration. Respiration in eukaryotic cells is carried out with the help of mitochondria. Now, we will talk about prokaryotes. In case of prokaryotes, cellular respiration is carried out by a structure which is known as mesosome. Mesosome is a slight invagination of the plasma membrane at a certain place, and this structure carries out cellular respiration in case of prokaryotes. Now, we will come to the structure of mitochondria. Since mitochondria is a double membrane structure, it has two membranes, and the structure of these membranes is similar to that of plasma membrane. In fact, all the cell organelles which have membranes inside the cell, their membrane structure is similar to that of plasma membrane, as described by the fluid mosaic model. Now, structure of mitochondria. We know that it has two membranes. One is the outer membrane and one is inner membrane. The outer membrane in case of mitochondria is smooth. The outer membrane of mitochondria is smooth, while the inner membrane has invaginations which are known as cristae. Inner membrane has invaginations called as cristae. There is a space between these two membranes that is called intermembrane space or pericardial space, which is filled by a watery fluid. Now, the structure inside the inner membrane is in fact filled with a matrix and is hence called mitochondrial matrix. Is called mitochondrial matrix. I will try to make a diagram of this mitochondria. This is the outer membrane, this is outer membrane, this is inner membrane. This is called mitochondrial matrix. Mitochondrial matrix. I have already told you there is a space between the two membranes that's called intermembrane space or pericardial space. Inside the inner membrane is present ions like calcium ions are present in mitochondrial matrix, magnesium ions, DNA, and ribosomes. Since mitochondria has DNA, its own DNA, but this DNA is of prokaryotic type. And ribosomes are also prokaryotic, that is 70S type. Due to its ability of this DNA present in the mitochondria, it is capable of replication or self-duplication. That is, mitochondria can replicate by itself because it has DNA. And ribosomes, it can make proteins for its needs because it has also ribosomes. That's why mitochondria is called semi-autonomous. Semi-autonomous. Semi-autonomous means it is not fully under the control of nucleus because it possesses its own DNA, it has its own ribosomes. Although the DNA is of prokaryotic type, the ribosomes are of prokaryotic type, but still it is autonomous in nature. That means it is not completely dependent on the nucleus for its needs. Now, we will talk about its main structures which are present on the inner membrane. There are knob-like structures present on the inner membrane. There are knob-like structures. Knob-like structures are present on the inner membrane of mitochondria. And these knob-like structures are called elementary particles or oxysomes, which are the sites of electron transport chain in cellular respiration. So, we can say that these knob-like structures on the inner membrane of mitochondria are the sites of electron transport chain in which maximum number of ATPs are produced. That is, in case of aerobic organisms, that is they are actually the sources of where the source of energy, that is ATP, is produced. ATP is the source. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. When the bonds in ATP break, energy is released. So main site of ATP production in mitochondria are these knob-like structures which are known as oxysomes or elementary particles or FR particles. Now we will discuss about the functions of the mitochondria. Mitochondria has the main function of it is involved in cellular respiration. And in cellular respiration, it produces energy in the form of ATP. That's why mitochondria is called powerhouse of the cell. Since it produces energy, it is known as powerhouse of the cell. Its main function is it produces ATP. That is, it produces energy in the cell. That's why it is called powerhouse of the cell. Another function is, and the number of mitochondria in a cell depend on the needs of the cell. The more energy, if the more energy is needed by the cell, then the number of ATP then the number of mitochondria in the cell increases. For example, mitochondria, it also causes thermogenesis. Thermogenesis means it produces heat in some organisms. For example, in young hibernating mammals, what happens? They have a brown fat in their chest, and these fat cells have large number of mitochondria in them. They produce large amount of heat in these cells, in this brown fat, and the heat requirement of these animals is fulfilled by these mitochondria. Hibernating animals means hibernation is a process in which an organism sleeps during the winter, as in case of polar bears or bats. They sleep during the winter, but they have a brown fat, a region in a part in the chest region where brown fat is present, and there are large number of mitochondria present in these brown fat cells, producing large amount of heat, which saves these hibernating animals from the cold. So it is involved in thermogenesis, production of heat. The last point I want to make is that the highest number of mitochondria are found in the flight muscle cells of insects. Flight muscle cells of insects have highest number of mitochondria because they are in constant need of requiring energy for the flying purpose. Therefore, highest number of mitochondria are found in the flight muscles of insects. This was the topic for today. I hope you will like this video, and I want to request to you to subscribe to my channel Parvaiz Sir's Knowledge Treasure, and also click on the bell icon for timely notifications.